So I've helped generate hundreds of millions of dollars on Shopify. I've been using Shopify for 10 years. I'm a Shopify expert, and I'm going to show you all the pros and cons to using Shopify. So let's jump into the video. And if there's any questions or anything, let me know in the comments and let's go from there. Hey, Clayton Bates here, and I'm one of Australia's only registered and authenticated Shopify experts. And I thought I'll do something different today and just go over what I've learned in the last 10 years, the pros and cons to using Shopify, how I've seen and helped people make hundreds of millions of dollars on Shopify, and some of the downfalls to using Shopify. So I've seen some crazy stuff, like people making 100K the first day in business, which is absolutely mind blowing, and going bankrupt in 6 months and making millions of dollars. I've seen other people make tens of millions of dollars from like an idea that people laughed at and things like that. So it's been a really weird sort of journey of seeing these ups and downs. And then when the pandemic happened, like people losing their house. Like I was working with two people. One person basically loses everything and the other one becomes a multimillionaire. It's like crazy, these stories. So first of all, I might just quickly go back to the start. And in 2014, so just over 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to build a website for my trading card business. I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars hiring someone. I thought, I'll just learn how to do it myself. The lesson I learned not spending thousands of dollars for someone to build my website is I probably lost $100,000 to $200,000 from not hiring an agency to do it in the first place. But in saying that, it did take me 6 months to 2 years to really work it out. And I wouldn't be here with my agency, Inspire Small Business. I wouldn't be a Shopify expert if I didn't learn how to do this stuff myself. I really love building websites. Like, I'm very analytical brain, so it sort of all makes sense why I really like doing this. And then basically 18 or 19, I'd had an agency for about a year, and Shopify reached out and asked me if I wanted to be a Shopify expert. I went through a big process of like qualifying to be a Shopify expert and stuff. I think 2 or 3 months later, I basically got to the end and they said, we normally wouldn't take someone like you on to be a Shopify expert, but you've given so much free value into the community that we're going to make you a Shopify expert. And what I believe they meant is I'd posted nearly 1,000 times in the Shopify community forum, giving people advice and stuff for free. And I wasn't a really big agency. I just started out back then. So they sort of gave me a chance. They said, don't let me down, don't let us down. And to this day, I haven't. Now I've helped generate hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients and stuff like that. So really cool. Like 10 years ago, if you asked me, would Shopify make me a Shopify expert? I think I was at the point where I wanted to throw my laptop through the window trying to build a website. So it's really crazy to see like how far I've sort of come and help clients and stuff like that. So I might just quickly go through a couple of pros and cons, and then I might go through some like really crazy stories that we've had over the years and stuff like that. All right. So the first pro is also a con. So a lot of people will say Shopify is easy to use, and I do believe it is easy to use, except when you run into roadblock. So Shopify is easy to use until you run into a roadblock. And then when you run into a roadblock, it's not easy to use. So a lot of the basics and stuff is really easy and things like that. But if you get to a point where you can't go beyond the template or Shopify's capacity or capabilities or whatever, then you have to hire someone like me or use a paid app or different things like that. So it's sort of like a pro and a con, but I'll get into that a little bit later in this video. Another pro is it's got everything. It's like a one-stop shop for e-commerce. So basically any problem you can think of has probably been solved. So if Shopify can't do it, then someone has probably solved that problem, created an app, whether it's free or paid, to solve that solution. So at the moment, I think there's like 8,000 Shopify apps or something like that. So anything that Shopify can't do, someone's probably made an app for it. There's very rarely like a problem that someone hasn't solved the solution, or there isn't coding that can do it or something like that. I don't think I've ever run into an issue where an app or coding can't fix a problem. So no matter what, there's probably a solution for you. The only time I can see there not being a solution is if the problem is so unique that maybe 10 people in the whole world need that solution, and then it's not worth it for anyone to make that solution. So it's very 99.9% of people watching this, there's a solution for your issue on Shopify. The next pro is customizable themes. So at the moment, Shopify theme store, it has like over 200 themes that you can use. So a theme is like a template to build a website. So even now, we've built like 600 sites. We always use a template, whether it's free or paid. A lot of the times we'll use a paid one because it sort of gets you like 70-80% of the way there, and then code the rest or use apps to really get the website going. But if you're just starting out, you can get a really nice basic website with a free template. I also made a video about Dawn is a free template, and someone made a pro version, like a turbocharged version of that for a very low cost, which I'll leave a link in the card above. You can check that out. It's a really good solution if you're starting out. The next pro is, I've already sort of talked about this, app integration for your website. So there's lots of apps. There's like 8,000 apps with solutions and stuff to your problems and stuff. Great example of this is here in Australia, there is one. With the shipping, have Sendle calculated shipping in the back end of Shopify for free. And the one issue with this is Sendle isn't really the best shipping company, in my opinion, in Australia. I believe Australia Post is, even though it has its issues like everything. But when you look at all the clients I've had, everyone who goes to Sendle normally comes back to Australia Post. And the bad thing about that is that Shopify doesn't have an integration for Australia Post. So someone actually created an app where you can put Australia Post calculated shipping in your checkout for like, I think it's $10 USD a month. So you can imagine at scale, if you're making like 100K a month and you need calculated shipping, what's $10 really? You know what I mean? So there's all these different solutions and stuff. The next pro, and I think a lot of people don't really look at this enough, and it's just the reliability of the hosting and the security of Shopify. I've never seen anyone get hacked. I've spoke to probably over 2,000 people now that have Shopify websites, and not one person's ever been hacked. So it's really, really good for the hosting and the security. I'm pretty sure Shopify, from memory, I looked into this a year or two ago, but they spent millions of dollars like paying ethical hackers to try to hack Shopify. And just a side note, if you ever do hire an agency and you want to give them access to your website, if they ask for your password or if they ask to be a staff member on your website, it's normally a very big red flag, because people like me that are Shopify partners, we actually don't need a password like to log into your website. If you give us a collaborator request code, we can actually log into your website using the collaborator request code. Now, this is so much safer than giving someone your password or being a staff member on your store. So just a little side note, if you're going to hire an agency, do it that way. It's the safest way. You can even go to Shopify support and ask them. They'll say the same thing. All right, the next pro is the customer support. You can go to Shopify customer support and get help. Now, I have mixed feelings about Shopify customer support. I'm really sorry, Shopify, if you're watching this and you hear me say this, but I don't think Shopify support is 100% reliable. So a great example is if you have a little issue, they can point you in the right direction and give you a little bit of help. But you want to take what they say with a grain of salt, because sometimes you'll ask for a solution, right? And they'll say, no, it's not possible. But there's some workaround that they can't really tell you, sort of thing. So sometimes when they say no, there is a workaround. And then sometimes when they do say yes, it's like a massive, monstrous task to actually do what they say. So great for like low-level support and things like that. I think it's one of the best supports out of whatever I use and stuff like that. The only other disadvantage to Shopify support is if you use their free themes, you'll get better support. If you use paid themes or third-party themes, the support won't be as good because I don't know 100% how it works now, but before it used to work where if you use a paid theme off Shopify, the lower percentage that the Shopify got from the purchase of the theme, the more support the theme had to do, and the bigger cut Shopify got, that would handle the support. So I'm not sure how it works now, but if you hire a good developer and stuff like that, it's probably better to go to them than Shopify support. So yeah. The next pro is the payment gateways on Shopify. There's just so many payment gateways that you can use. You can go to the payment gateways now and you can basically add anything into your website. So, for example, you could have Shopify payments, which is card payments, or you could use other payment processors. You can use PayPal, Afterpay, ZipPay, things like that. Now, not all platforms you build websites on can even do that. So there's one platform, I'm not going to say their name, from memory a few years ago, I don't know if they can now, they couldn't even accept Afterpay. And Afterpay is like massive here in Australia. So imagine having a website and you can't add Afterpay to it. And it's like such a big thing in Australia. So that's definitely like a pro, in my opinion. And you can go and check all the different countries. There's heaps of different options for your country to accept payments. The next pro is all the SEO stuff on Shopify. You can do a lot of the stuff in bulk. They're really trying to improve this, which I think is great. Now, is Shopify the best platform for SEO? Probably not. I don't think so. But they have a lot of good features for the SEO and stuff like that. In my personal opinion, the clients that do the best is when they build a brand. So we don't lean as heavy on the SEO. We more lean towards like people trying to build brands and stuff like that, which I think is a lot better. The next one is just multi-channel selling. Like you can actually link up your Shopify website to eBay, Amazon, Etsy, things like that, and it all connects in one place. Facebook shop as well. It can all connect to your store. So it's basically all connected, not as much hassle. You can have Shopify POS or points of sale. You can use stuff like Vend, or it's called Lightspeed now, connects all your inventory and stuff like that. So this is really good, especially if you got a larger business selling in multiple different places and stuff like that. All right, so this is the one a lot of people have probably been waiting for, but the cons. There is a few. You can't have good without bad. You can't have up without down. So here are the cons of some Shopify. So the monthly costs and transaction fees is probably one of the higher ones. So basically at the moment, if you pay monthly, I think the lowest plan you can be on is $39 USD a month. You can be on a lower one, but you can't really have a store doing that. So there is a lot of alternatives that are a lot cheaper. But in my opinion, if you're serious about business and you want to go to a platform where all the solutions are there, Shopify is definitely the place to go. All right, so circle back to customization and easy to use. So it is limited sometimes. So when you get to a roadblock, it's hard to push through that roadblock. So you have to either or you have to hire someone like me to custom code something into your website. So that's where it is easy to use, but then when you get to roadblock, it's not easy to use. But I think a lot of platforms are like that. Yeah, so it's sort of like it really depends what you're like looking for, sort of thing. If you just want to hit the ground running, hire an agency. Most of the good agencies can basically build anything you want. So it really depends what you want to do. On a flip side to that, there's actually two ways to code. And a lot of people don't talk about this either, which I think is really important. So the first way to code a website is you code the website, and the only person who can change it is someone who knows how to code, which is not good for you, right? The second way, and the way that we do everything, is we code something and then we code the option into the template. So basically the option's there where you can press the buttons, turn it on and off, change the text and stuff. It takes longer to do that, but it's heaps better user experience for you. So we really try our best to make the experience good for you so you can easily update your website and stuff in the future as well. All right, so the next one is also a pro, which I talked about before, and it's basically like app dependency. So relying on apps and stuff like that. There's basically no website we've built in the last 6 years that doesn't have apps. So you have to use apps on the website. So I think we recently built a website with no apps, but I'd say nearly everyone that we build at least has one or two apps. So you're depending on them being reliable as well. So you're having your website and then you have plugins to the website that you're relying on also to run your website sort of thing. So if the app does something wrong or crashes or anything like that, then it's going to hurt your website. Now, I know Shopify heavily punishes apps that do that. So they will remove the app from the app store. They'll rank the app lower. So basically, I think it still works like this, but the rankings on apps when you search stuff, it goes off like the reviews, any issues they've had, all different things like that. So really good things are rewarded in the app store. So basically, I'm going to tell you like a nightmare, something that happened to me a few years ago. I built nearly 100 websites using an app. I'm not going to name their names, but I'll never use them again. They changed directions. They broke things. I actually used the app on my website and they broke my whole website. So imagine running an agency that builds websites and then it crashed my website. So it's sort of like, that was a third-party app, by the way. It wasn't vetted through Shopify, which is another whole nother tangent that we can go on, where basically a lot of the times when you use third-party things, these sort of things can happen worse than if you use something on Shopify. So that's why I rarely ever use third-party stuff at the moment. The only thing I use that's third-party that's not through the Shopify theme or app store is Adorn Pro. It's a third-party theme. I'll leave a link in the description. But yeah, other than that, I always use stuff through Shopify sort of thing. So that's why you got to be really careful when you're using third-party templates, things like that, because you don't want to be making $10,000, $100,000 a month and your website crashes. The next con is the learning curve and just advanced features and stuff like that. So it is a big learning curve sometimes. Like for me, it took 6 months to 2 years to really learn this, and I still was not a master at it. It took many years to really know what I was doing and stuff like that. And I think the basics are easy for people to pick up and stuff. So for example, if you show someone how to add a product and steps to follow and make a video, a lot of people can follow that sort of thing, but it's very daunting to do everything sort of thing. So it is a very big learning curve. So for example, I'll leave a video I made up here, but basically there's 5 really important things that you need to nail on your Shopify website or website in general: the homepage, the product page, the site navigation, the checkout, and mobile friendly. And like the learning curve just to nail those 5 things is quite big sort of thing. So if you don't know what you're doing, like I did at the start, you might be losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I probably lost $100,000 or $200,000 the first couple of years I was in business with my old website, just because I didn't realize these things. So it's really, yeah, that's really, really important. And advanced features. So 10 years ago, this is going to sound crazy with how far we've come on the internet, but 10 years ago, it was actually easier to find solutions to hard things. So it's like, what's the right way to say this? So it was easier to find solutions. So now we have more solutions and better solutions through apps and stuff. But when you run into a roadblock now, to find the solution is very hard because there's so much noise. So 10 years ago, like if you wanted to do something hard, you type it into YouTube and there's probably only one person that's ever made a video maybe about that, and the video will be there. Now, a lot of the problems have been solved, but the issue is there's so much content on the internet that the basic stuff is what most people need. So if you need a really hard thing, it's actually really hard to find the solution for that. So that's what I sort of think as well. The next con, which I don't think it's a massive thing, but there's not as much control over the data and like everything around sort of Shopify. compared to like other platforms and things like that. But yeah, 99% of people that are watching this video, it probably is not going to affect them as much. So it's probably not really a big con sort of thing. All right, the next con is the cost of themes. So basically, if you want a good theme in the Shopify theme store, you might spend like 200 to 400 USD on a really good theme. And let's just say you're using WordPress or something like that. They've got lots of more affordable themes, but and even Shopify has like cheap third-party themes. So like I was talking about the Dawn Pro theme, which is the link below, it's only 50, 80 bucks USD or something like that. So if you want a really good theme, that can get you 70, 80% of the way there. When you're still going to use apps and code and stuff, you might be spending 400 USD. A lot of the times people don't realize why they're spending 400 USD and the advantage of spending that money. So if you buy a theme through the Shopify theme store and it's 400 bucks, you get lifetime updates to the theme. So in 5 years, you can get the most recent updated version of the theme completely free, and you get support forever. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really that big of a fee when you stretch it out over years. So let's say you build a website on a paid theme and you're going to use a paid theme for 3 years. That's like 3 years of support, 3 years of updates and stuff like that for 400 bucks, 400 USD. That's probably like 600 Australian. It really isn't that much. But if you're starting out and you might shut your website down in 3 months or your business might fail, then maybe 400 USD is a lot. So it really depends on how you think about it. Now, the final con is if you ever want to change platforms. Now, this is for any platform, really. If you ever want to change platforms in the future, it's pretty hard to change over. There's lots of apps and plugins that make it a lot easier, but basically, it's a bit of a nightmare changing platforms and stuff. So when you're thinking about a platform, you want to think of the future, sort of thing. Because you don't want to like build your website on WordPress and go back and build it on Shopify, then be Shopify, then go to whatever sort of thing. So no matter what platform you use, there's going to be challenges if you ever switch over. In my personal opinion, and I'm very biased on this because I love Shopify, I think Shopify, if you got e-commerce website, is the best platform for e-commerce. So yeah. All right. So here's some crazy stories that I'm going to talk about. Let's have a bit of stretch for this one. But some people are just not going to believe this. And I don't really care if people don't believe this or not, because the internet is a crazy place. And even if I did screenshots, did videos and stuff, people would say this is fake, but they also can't see the craziness behind what I'm about to say. So 8,000 Instagram followers made someone 100K in the first day of business. 8,000 Instagram followers made someone 100K in 25 hours. First 25 hours in business, they made 100K. All their payment gateways were shut down by the 25 hours. Now, how is this even possible? And you might be like, how does someone make 100K the first day in business? Imagine being super passionate about what you like, the niche you're in, sort of thing, right? And you never had a business, you work in these niches and stuff, right? And then you're like, I'm going to start a business. And you've got this super passionate following, right? And then you launched your website. I think there was 300 or 400 people a couple of minutes before we launched the website on the password page. That's just unheard of, sort of thing, for people starting out. And then basically they made all this money, right? Sounds great, doesn't it? 6 months later, millions of dollars in the bank. Sounds great, doesn't it? It's not always great. That they went bankrupt or went out of business or whatever in 6 months, and they made millions of dollars. And the one thing I've learned is like, if you scale too fast, it's just, you don't see the issues. Like if you scale slowly and there's an issue in your business, it's not really that bad, right? If you scale fast and there's a massive issue, you're screwed. And the issue that these guys had, which I told them not to do, is that everything was on pre-order on their website, and they said, we're going to charge shipping later. So people go through the checkout. It says a message you'll be charged shipping later and everything like that. And I told them, people don't read and stuff like that, which people don't read. And then basically when they got all their stock in, they're now doing tens of thousands of dollars in refunds because people are like, oh, I'm not paying $100 for shipping. Oh, I'm not paying $200 for shipping, blah, blah. I didn't see the message about shipping. Now, if they had made $1,000 day one and it happened, it's not really a big issue. But by the time they've got their stock, they've made $300,000 or $400,000 and they've charged no shipping to anyone. So, yeah, at scale, if you don't gradually get there and work out all the kinks, something like that sort of happens, it's a tragedy really, because they had such a great business idea, great business. They were super passionate. So yeah. The next one is, imagine like people giving you crap on your Facebook ads about your product when you started out your product, right? When you made this product and people are giving you crap and all this stuff, right? And some people would give up, right? Not this person, $1 million company now. So I think sometimes like the thing about having a business is like you got to roll with the punches. Like not everyone's going to be happy, not everyone's going to be nice, and if you listen to all the negativity, you could miss out. He could have shut down his business. He could have listened to those people, and now look how far he's come now in just a few years. It's just crazy, like how far someone's come. So yeah, basically, don't listen to the haters. Who cares? Whatever. I don't know what to say, but yeah. The next one is, I just never realized how powerful like social media was. Like social media is like absolutely crazy. Like someone can go from basically nothing, get on TikTok, start posting videos of them packing orders, blow up their TikTok to over 100,000, which then converts to like 30,000 Instagram followers and make like over $100,000. Is like the power of like being consistent. So that's another thing, right? A lot of people have been super consistent. Like the people who make it, they're just consistent. They keep showing up. Like I think a lot of people forget that they don't keep showing up. Like they'll post. Even myself, like I'm saying this, and I'm a culprit of my own thing. Like you look at my YouTube channel, yeah, it's like I could go into the stats of how much money I made on it, and then I don't post. So yeah, but I also have an agency to worry about, which I'm very consistent. So yeah, basically consistency is one of the most important things I think when you do anything, basically. So yeah, that were my pros and cons, some crazy stories and stuff like that, and just what I learned in the last 10 years. Let me know your funny experiences and stuff. Somewhere around here, there'll be like a video for a special offer we have and things like that. If you watch this far, you're a legend. And yeah, thanks. Have a good one. Hey, just interrupting this video. If you're liking this video, there'll be a link below where you can get a free video review of your website, going over tips and suggestions, completely free. Check out the link below, and either myself or my team will do it. And back to the video. Thanks again for watching.